All right, race fans, we are back after a couple week hiatus here. Back from Arizona, back into the cold, frozen tundra. Episode number 289, and as always, your host Ryan Aho, my co-host here, Changa. How's it going up in Superior, Wisconsin?
Well, it warmed up to about 10 today, so that was nice.
I got to
Hey,
be honest, Bert. I got to Superior, Wisconsin. I call it inferior because there's nothing superior about it, especially the weather. I got up there last week. My truck was broke down, and I went to bed because they were going to bring it to Kenworth to have it worked on. 3:30 in the morning on Thursday night, the heater quit working. The truck wouldn't start. Right? I'm going. Oh my God! It was 51 below zero with the wind chill. Thank God I was actually at the terminal. I walked into the building, made a phone call, got a hotel room. I can't imagine if I would have been like at a rest area or something where I couldn't do that. That would have been absolutely horrible. So,
yeah,
um,
well, Chonga said it was 10 there. At least you hit double digits. We're still in the single digits. Friday morning when I drove to work, that my inside my car, it shows the outside temperature, and in my garage it was 8 degrees, and then I backed out and I'm driving and that temperature is just going down, 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 and it hit minus 23
Oh,
without wind
going
chill. That was just minus 23.
going down, down, down. Right? Yeah, so that was what your thermometer was doing there. And let's face it, birds are even smart enough to go south in the winter. Right? It just is what it is. I mean, whales go south in the winter. We're too dumb. I did go south for a couple weeks. My parents, way smarter, right? They go down beginning of November. My dad's like, we ain't coming back north till the snow's gone. Perfect. See you in June. All right, that's kind of how that works. Uper's like, snow's gone in June? Okay, maybe not in the UP. Mid-July, July 4th, I'm not really sure. And of course, we got Bert Lehman here, former editor-in-chief, Full Throttle Magazine, tear-off extraordinaire for MJ McBride. So we're gonna get into some racing, but before we do, shout out Impact Health Sharing. So guys, what a year it's been for Impact Health Sharing. I mean, people that are paying for their own health insurance, if you're self-employed, maybe you're an employee somewhere, but you still have to pay for your own. If you're paying for your own health insurance, whether you're a family, individual, small business, and if you're in good health, now keep in mind, if you got major medical, diabetes, major pre-existing conditions, it's not going to cover you anything in the last 36 months. But if you got a pretty clean bill of health, man, I'm telling you, it's worth checking into because we're looking at saving people. They're paying less than half of what they were paying with like their traditional health insurance, and it's absolutely been unbelievable this year. So if you're in that boat, give me a call, shoot me a text. My number 218-969-1380. Hit me up on Messenger. I can get you a quick, no obligation quote. I can pass along some information to see if we can help you save some money to spend on cool stuff like race car stuff, right? And that's a lot more fun than giving it to your insurance people. So let's start with some Wasota stuff here. On the last show, we talked about Wasota hired a gentleman by the name of Rick Tennis. I remember seeing him racing a late model. What was that, back in the 90s, probably? He ran number 52. He had the train car, I think TRANE, number 90. Had an asphalt stint. A little bit of drama here, boys. A little bit of drama. A little drama. So I don't know if this is going to be good or bad. I'm going to clarify it by saying I'm not going to just completely throw this guy under the bus because I've never met him. I don't know this guy from the man on the moon. Okay. I have had people reaching out though, multiple people, promoters. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But the first order of business was the tranny deal. Good idea. A little late to the party. Good idea. Kind of what they're doing there. I think that was today or yesterday, an email came out, and they decided no more class reps for the tech committee. So we had talked about this a couple of years ago. Actually, Bert, when you and I and Jeff Kraus were on the show, we were talking. It don't matter who you are, right? It don't matter if you're, the late Randy Buss, the late Bill Engelstead, right? It don't matter if you're Jim McClellan, Ryan Aho. It don't matter, right? 8 classes is a lot to know every single rule about every single type of car in 8 classes. I don't care who you are. That's too much for anybody. So, we suggested, and other people did too, that maybe there should be an individual class rep for each and every class. So that way the tech officials, if it's a mod 4 deal, bam, they got a guy to reach out to. If it's a street stock deal, bam, they got a guy to reach out to. And that person's job is to understand everything there is to know about that specific class. It seemed like a good idea, right? Well, apparently they decided we don't need that anymore. This guy's got her. One guy, it's all we need. He's got her. They got rid of I don't know what they're doing here. This is absolutely maddening to me. You're taking a guy, you're putting him in this position as the head of Wissota Tech. Now, again, jury's still out. Guy could end up being fantastic. I don't know, right? I will say this. If you haven't been involved with racing in 20 plus years, probably pretty tough to throw you to the wolves year one. I can see him coming in and being an assistant or whatever to somebody that's got some experience. That's fine, right? And let him learn the ropes. And if they decide that he's the guy to take over, great. But he's coming in day one, and now not only is he got to know everything there is about everything, they're also going to cut, to the best of my knowledge, they're going to cut people off the tech committee. So it's like we're getting back to a dictatorship, right? Top the tater, right? Dictator, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I like top the tater better than a dictator. I'll just say, okay, top the tater is a Minnesota thing. Now, your guys' thoughts on this, right? And there's some validity to too many people in the decision-making process creates a mess and nothing ever gets done. One person making all the decisions, no matter how smart the guy is, could be a very smart guy. I heard a lot about him, heard he's a smart guy, okay? But one person making all the decisions that's not been around racing for 20 years, I don't know. Your guys' thoughts on this, as I laid it out, the little bit of facts as I laid out. Changa.
Well, I guess I am a fan of having a grand poobah, right? The guy who makes the ultimate decision. But I mean, I feel like you're really making the job tough on one individual if you're going to only, I mean, all the help you can get. We go to the Youth Hockey Association. Every level of hockey has a level rep that you go with before you're going to go to the president of the association or the grand poobah, right? So, yeah, I think it's making the guy's job hard, especially when he hasn't been around in a while. So, I don't think
Well,
it's a great idea, and I don't know whose idea is it to make it this way? Was it his or was it Wasota's? Who makes that call?
boy, I would have a hard time believing that was his decision. I mean, he's probably part of the decision-making process, but you can't just hire a person, bring them in, and be like, all right, you just take over everything. You ain't been involved with racing in 20 years, and you just have a free-for-all and do whatever you want. Seems like a dangerous game. That seems like a dangerous game. And guys, we're in January. Wait till we get to July when there's 4 or 5 nights a week of racing, and you got a ton of racing going on, and you got a street stock issue here, a late model issue here, a Midwest mod issue here, a Hornet issue here, a pure stock. Good luck. Good luck. Best of luck to you, right? And that was part of the reason of having a certain individual for each and every class. So that way that one person didn't have to field calls from 8,000 people all year long. I don't know. The other, Bert, your thoughts. You got any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I agree with Changa that, ultimately, I think you need one head guy, but I agree, um, you have to have a structure, not just, tracks to the head guy. I agree. There should be a middle structure in between there, where, a class rep, you go to the class rep first, and if the class rep has a question or whatever, can go to the head guy, or ultimately the head guy has the um makes the ruling. But I agree, there should be at least one more layer in there.
Yeah, there should be some more of a little bit of a buffer, and I remember a while back, we started the class rep deal, and that was at the Wasota rules meetings, and there was driver reps at that. And as soon as we pushed in the quick change rear ends into the A mods. I remember certain Wasota board members getting up and me, and that's the end of that. They were so pissed off. They're like, they ended that. And then it was several years before they had the reps again, and then they went to a different kind of rep this last time around. Now, the other thing is, guys, Wasota's in financial trouble. It's a mess. So,
Well, that was one of the things. Is this a financial decision?
well, the class reps didn't really get paid, okay?
Okay.
But there was my sources tell me, right, and this is from a few different people, that they were actually looking at hiring another individual to kind of be alongside of this guy. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Rick Tennis can go to Canada. I I I believe he's got a couple DUIs, can't go to Canada. So now you ain't gonna have the head of Wasota Tech even make a trip to Canada, and there's Wasota tracks up there. That seems kind of weird. That seems interesting to me, right? So they were gonna have another individual that has some experience, that's been kind of working in the tech area for a number of years, kind of as I don't want to say a secondary person, but kind of a secondary person. And they were gonna, there was possibly an opportunity. They were gonna have somebody there. Well, they said, we ain't got no money. We can't. Well, they raised the fees, right? The sanctioning fees on all the tracks, and certain tracks that maybe have a privately owned deal, they're like, not a big deal, whatever. It's just a business expense. But all these club run tracks, your Proctors, your Grand Rapids, right, your Wilmers, all that, you start raising the fees on everything, and pretty soon they're like, what are we doing? And they're raising the fees because the only way they have to generate money is sponsorship money, the Wasota 100, and then the sanctioning fees, licensing fees, right? Well, that's it. Well, if there's nobody out there marketing the product called Wasota Auto Racing and creating more revenue, I don't know. And you take a guy like James Frantina, right? James Frantina, he's not even a Wasota board member. He spearheaded a deal as a promoter a couple years ago to say, look, we're going to do this, and there was other people involved, but I believe he was the main one to start it. It was kind of the We Are Wasota deal, just trying to get several people within, throwing in 500, throwing 500, throwing 500, and a whole bunch of people getting $500 adds up to giving, more money to the racers, more contingency prizes at the Wasota 100. That was a Wasota promoter doing that, not a Wasota board member. That wasn't a Wasota employee. Isn't that their job? Isn't that the idea of having the, you know, Wasota executive director or the marketing people or whoever they have? Shouldn't they be out getting more sponsorship money? And instead they're cutting employees. Well, I can tell you right now, there's a couple. What's more important, right? Having another tech official out there, or having an executive director that literally just answers the phone and really not, I mean, that job can go. I don't care who it is. That job can go. If you're not out there getting sponsors and getting big things for Wasota, get rid of that job first. And I don't know. It's financially, it's a dumpster fire in Wasota right now, and they're starting to make decisions based on lack of funding rather than making decisions based on what's best for the organization. That never works long term. That's a dangerous, dangerous path they're going down. But let's look at it this way, okay? Let's go the opposite, right? Because that's kind of the negative spin on things. But let's go the positive spin, right? So you bring essentially a new guy. Rick Tennis has been heavily involved with racing for the better part of his life, right? He raced for a long time, successful, won races. Family's been involved with racing, right? He's been involved for a long time, okay? Maybe bringing somebody new in that's not really been involved for the last 20 years, maybe that'll be better, right? Changa, you and I have talked at length about the Wasota rulebook and just how massively outdated it is. And you could literally, Bert, take probably a third of that rulebook and literally just scribble out like a third of the rules. That's not an exaggeration. there is some nonsense in there that makes absolutely no sense in 2026 to be in the WSOTA rulebook. Maybe, maybe this guy here can take a fresh look at things and be like, let's clean this up a little bit, right? Let's get rid of like you can only have 4 bolts along the back of your roof or you're disqualified because it's an aero advantage. What are we talking about? Get rid of that. Stupid. Nobody cares, right? Or maybe on the street stocks where you can only have 4 inches of your fender top showing because you need to have a really wide hood because that's how the cars were built in 1990. Okay, who gives a shit, right? The width is a width, same amount of material. Get rid of these rules, right? Maybe he has a fresh look, and maybe some of this stuff can get cleaned up, or possibly, is there a possibility that he can look at the USRA mod rules, look at the WSOTA mod rules that are already pretty close together, and say, you know what? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to have these rules be different. Maybe he can get together with Todd Staley, and say, look, I get it. You guys are on American Racer tires. We're on Hoosiers. But couldn't everything else be the same? Why not make everything else the same? Right? That would make sense. So maybe that'll happen. Right? Chong, is there anything else? Is there any rules that kind of stick out to you that maybe should be fixed? Or I see some people kind of butthurt about some super stock body stuff too.
No, I mean, we've talked at length about this on past episodes, like you just mentioned, the bolts across the back of the roof. 4 is the limit. Can't have 10 because God forbid if we want the roofs to fly off when they roll over, and we're getting all kinds of downforce off a carriage bolt or whatever the story is. But yeah, I mean, right down to the point average lineup. Should we have it? Shouldn't we have it? I mean, my God, it's no, but I would say the majority of them are, your deck height rules and your deck width and the shapes of the panels on your deck tin. I mean, the body rules would be the first and easiest ones to change, right?
Yeah, and like you said, the deck height rule, there's one right there. Unnecessary. Nobody races around the track at ride height. If you're going to have a rule measuring that, go to a droop rule or just get rid of it altogether, right? Another one that's been brought up by a number of people, lightening of blocks and modifieds and late models. Well, you're looking at $3,000 to get a block lightened. It's unnecessary. You want to save money in racing? Take that rule, throw it out the window. If you have an externally lightened block, put some weight on the front of your mid plate. Call it a day. Hell, UMP essentially has like no engine rules at all, right? One of the very few engine rules they have, no external lightning on the block. Pretty simple to check, right? Unnecessary expense. It does not make the racing better. It doesn't make cars safer. All it does is make people take money out of their pocket and throw it at the engine builder for no apparent reason. So maybe, maybe a dictator type 1 individual, maybe that's better. Maybe change will happen. Some change is necessary. So the jury's still out, right? I'm getting a lot of buzz from a lot of different directions with frustration, and understand this: nobody likes change. So sometimes when change happens, people get their feelings hurt. Be prepared for that, right? Maybe he's got thick enough skin to implement change regardless of people getting their feelings hurt to make racing better, because it needs change. So how about a shout out here to our boy Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solutions. So Brad was gonna get me some more information, but he's like, I got so many products. I got way more products. So I keep talking about the stuff you put in the spray packages, but he's got stuff for everything, right? So if you're in farming, you want to be more profitable, you want higher yields, you want to make more money, why not give a guy a call that's part of the racing community, Brad Parson, at 320-219-3542, to learn about all the stuff he has in store to help you make your 2026 farming season a whole lot better. So, guys, I know we're a week out from it, but me, JR, Uper was down there, Pete was down there, Carl was down there. We went down to the Wild West Shootout. Changa, I invited you. Bert, you should have came down, right? I don't know where you guys were at. You like the cold. I don't know. I don't know.
I still have yet to see the tickets. They didn't come in the mail.
I had it waiting at the door for you. Literally had your name. I felt like Ricky Bobby, right? literally has the tickets at the door for his dad that never showed up to the race. And they literally said Chonga right there. My feelings were hurt. Youper, right? Youper was crying. Now, I want you guys' opinion because we kind of talked about this. There's no freaking way Youper's going to make it through a whole show and sit there till the very end, right? We kind of said that. Day one, I literally thought I thought he was going to die because he ended up coming down with walking pneumonia. Now, keep in mind, we were on row 8. He walked up 8 flights of stairs, and I literally, honest to God, I thought he was going to tip over and die right on the spot. He couldn't breathe. I started talking to him, and he's like, stop. And so he had walking pneumonia, so holy balls, right? You go down to Arizona, you get sick. So, but he did stay. Day one, he stayed through the whole entire race program. Pretty impressed. Day two, he was there when the checkered flag flew on the final race of the night, but here's where an asterisk comes in. I'm not really sure. He didn't get there till probably about race 10 on the night. So I don't know if that really counts because, I mean, I think he wanted to leave early, but he's like, I can only sit so long, so I'm just going to skip the front half of the deal. But if you're going to skip something, miss the heats, you're there for the features, I guess we could still give him credit. He saw it through. And keep in mind, it wasn't super hot. It was super windy. It was kind of cold. Got a little bit proud of Youper. A little bit proud of him for seeing it through. Well, let's start with late models down there. So late models got a couple weeks of racing in, guys. They've raced the Wild West Shootout down in Central Arizona Speedway, Casa Grande. And then they had the 3 nights of the Sunshine Nationals World of Outlaw Dirt Late Model Series at Volusia this past weekend. What have we learned? What have we learned thus far? We're basically through the end of January, right? In the national dirt late model scene, what sticks out to you guys? Bert, I'll let you start. What have you learned so far?
Well, first I have a question. Now Bishop, he skipped the Wild West Shootout, right, and just went straight to Volusia.
No.
You could
Well,
say that based on the number of times his name was mentioned at the Wild West Shootout.
yeah, I think he brought out a couple cautions for a flat tire. He was down there in the B5. He was Rocket 1 right at Volusia, wasn't he? Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was. I mean, and traditionally he's been pretty good down at the Wild West. Now it's been at Vado, right, the past few years, but he was not good. He was not good. He was really good at Volusia though.
Yep.
World of Outlaw point leader right now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So yeah, he was there, Bert. Yeah, he was there. So what else? What else we got?
And well, I have a question for Changa. Are you worried about your boy this year?
Not even a little bit. He always sucks in Florida and Georgia. He always sucks on a sand pit. And what if your sucking means a win 2 seconds, a third, in a fourth? I mean, I'll take sucking any day.
How many times did he
More
start
afraid
on the
of him.
front row?
I'm more afraid of him getting his ass whooped. Is what I'm more afraid of. I'm not afraid of him winning races. He's gonna do that, but how many times can you take out Hudson O'Neal before the guy a foot taller than you just kind of pounds knots on your head?
Well, let's be honest. Huddy's nice and Huddy ain't tough, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
I don't know if he's tough or not. He is too nice. He's soft. He's yeah.
We also have to remember that Pierce is domesticated now.
Yes,
I'm not seeing him slowing down on the racetrack. He's still driving the hell out of it.
Frickin' JR tried picking a fight with his girlfriend or his fiance.
I saw JR wearing that freaking the jacket that he from the body that Pierce had at the Dome.
Yep. He bought that. The hoodie. Yep, the hoodie. Yep. But he tried picking a fight with Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told her, he goes, well, you putting that helmet on was bad luck, and she was starting to get pissed. I got to be honest. I think she whooped your ass. So he's over there. He's trying to be funny, and I think she was kind of starting to be like a little bit annoyed, like, who the heck is this guy? Like, what the hell are you talking about, right? You know who might whoop his ass, though, is Corey Edgecock, right? I mean, he's not afraid to do the Jimmy Superfly Snuka from car to car, and Bobby Pierce flat out yard sailed him on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna tell.
Hedgecock
I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't think Bobby's ever been worried about getting his ass kicked. He's been wrecking race cars for many years. The stuff he's been, the him and Huddy thing was very, very minor. Every one of them. The Hedgecock thing was all right. You can run me up into the wall once, run me up into the wall again. Fuck you! I just spin you out. You're a nobody.
and let's face it, that Bobby Pierce ain't afraid to throw some sliders and haymakers and right recorder panels and all that.
They
But
don't go there to make friends. They go there to win races. They bring their
was
own friends.
was that an education, Bert, right there when Hedgecock he's like, I'm gonna play tough, I'm gonna play tough, and Bobby's like, dude, I got a provisional. You, however, do not. So I will go ahead and yard sale you and spin you out. I'm in the feature, and I'll let you go ahead and watch me tonight because you don't have a provisional, so you're not going to win that game. Was that an education there for Hedgecock?
I guess so. I just don't like it when drivers just flat out spin drivers out. I mean, I don't care if it's not one of the premier drivers. I just don't like it. To me, that's not racing.
And the problem is the series promotes that, right? When you got World of Outlaw, Lucas Oil, and they have the no fault
Oh,
caution and
right,
nobody goes to
right.
the back. If you're late to staging, though, you're going to the back. Late to staging, going to the back. Spin somebody out flat out on
Don't hate the
purpose.
player, hate the game, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it
I'm
was
with you,
different once
Bert.
upon a time.
Yeah, Bert, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But this is not Bobby's fault. This is World of Outlaws'
No,
fault.
I agree. I agree.
So the other thing is, I'll say this. So you know who's not afraid to maybe throw a haymaker or two?
Turbo.
Turbo. Turbo. That Turbo JD deal down there. And the slider in the heat race, massively aggressive, came across his nose, made a little
Lap
contact.
one.
Yeah. But JD didn't. Bert, you've never raced a dirt late model in your life. Okay.
No.
If you're coming into the corner and you see that flash of green down inside you, right, getting in on entry, what do you think is going to happen? He's throwing a haymaker, right? It's turbo. Like he's throwing a haymaker. That people are like, well, he got into he did. He got into JD. He clipped him a little bit. He did. But that's 70% JD's fault because if you don't know by now that slider's coming, that's on you. Like you got to anticipate these things, right? So drama happened after the heat. They're down and he blocks his pit area and they're barking at each other. Good for racing, right? The feature, the biggest pop of the whole week, and it's not close. JD from 12th row to third, and when I saw it coming, I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna get good. And he threw the haymaker, and Turbo saw that flash. He's like, nah, I don't want no part of this. I'm gonna
He
hit
knew
the
how to
brake.
lift.
Yep, I'm gonna lift. Now, some people absolutely hate Turbo. Some people love Turbo, right? But I can tell you this: one of the biggest cheers every single night in the grandstands, and I'm talking, it didn't matter the age group, it did not matter. Turbo had the biggest cheering section at the Wild West shootout in the late models, and it's not close
More than
because
RTJ did the night he was there.
he was only there one night. And yeah, because you got to remember, it's not all Arizona people down there, it's all northern people. It's people from all over the country. The bulk of the crowd down there is not Arizona locals. It's people from all over coming down, kind of like Gateway Dirt Nationals, right? There I'm going to challenge you guys this. Is there even remotely close to a bigger, more colorful personality in all of racing period right now than Turbo Tyler Erb?
Well, certainly none that we know about. I mean, if there is in racing, and there are probably tons of them. But guess what? They're at some grassroots level that we don't see all over the national stage.
Yeah, so that would make them maybe big locally, but not nationally.
Right.
And well, the thing about Turbo too is he knows how to make lemonade out of lemons. Because I mean, every incident, even if you consider it a bad incident, he makes a T-shirt about it and he sells it. The thing with JD, made a T-shirt with kryptonite on it, and and he owns it and takes advantage of it.
Smart marketing right there. I mean, again, it's Pierce JD or Pierce Turbo as far as the marketing goes. I mean, those two, nobody in dirt late model racing does it better.
Well,
Those two are on
and
top of their game.
I mean, the thing about Pierce is he does his marketing based on different um, graphics on his car and stuff like that.
Or
Where
championships won,
well,
or
Yeah,
um, where Turbo he does it. Well, he does some of it with different paint schemes, but like he got in trouble with the law. There's a T-shirt he made with "Wanted Turbo," and
got a race suit that's got the
right,
jail
right.
suit. Yeah. So I mean, I'm telling you right now, dirt racing needs more of that. And the problem we have today is this, right? The minute somebody does something colorful or outlandish or whatever, the internet, and I'm guilty of it, well, we're probably all guilty of it to some extent, right? But the minute somebody does something that we consider like, holy shit, what the hell are they doing? Everybody all over the internet's like, oh, what an idiot, what a baby, what this person immature, this person. That stuff's needed. You want to sell tickets, you need drama, period. You need it. It's and this ain't a fabricated drama. This ain't like we're gonna just manipulate something here. Turbo has the no fucks given mindset, period. He don't care. He'll say what's on his mind. He'll throw a haymaker anytime, anywhere. He'll rough it up with the best of them anytime, anywhere. He don't care. And that is needed on the national level, the regional level, and on the local level. That is needed. And Turbo, the more him being on a national touring series, that could be fun. Who's he going to mix it up with? Hard to say, right? But that's going to be fun. It's super necessary. And I don't know. For a while I'm like, I'm not much of a Turbo guy, but the more I watch him, he's good with the kids. He's good with the fans. He's good for dirt track racing. And I mean, you can't take it away from him. I mean, as far as that goes, he's a number one right now in all of dirt racing for sure.
he's had a little bit of speed out of the gate here too. He's got a couple of seconds, and
Correct.
you know,
Yeah, he got second evolution there from relatively deep on the dry slick. I'm like, holy balls! I mean,
right?
he actually looked good. So, yeah, it'd be good for racing to see Turbo be relevant this year in battle for some wins on the national tour. That'd be good.
I guess the only other real quick from down in Arizona there, Dustin Sorensen put together a pretty nice back half of that deal down there with a couple of top fives and
Yeah,
4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and then he followed it up with like a sixth place the first night at Volusia. So putting together some consistency and some good runs early in the year, anyhow.
Jake Smith struggling. Jake Smith not finding speed. That thing's not good. Brent
No,
Larson, feature results not there. 3 straight nights at Volusia, transferring from the heat to the AMA.
no, that's huge.
Right? So that's a step in the right direction for the B1 bomber. The Infinity cars, right? Gustin, we know was fast last year. He won some races.
He
Of
was good
course,
in
you got
Arizona.
good in Arizona and some bad luck down there. Now you got Madden, right, getting in the Infinity. And boy, he looked quick right out of the gate. I mean, not a lot of them out there, but I tell you right now, Chris Madden getting in that Infinity house car is good
And
for
help.
that program. That is good for that program for sure. Um, I think that's it on the late model. So I do want to give a shout out here before we get in kind of the rest of what the Wild West, because I was down there. I'm gonna give a little recap, couple things, but got a new product here, boys. I don't know if you guys drink coffee or not. We all know people that do, but right here, got a company called Agara Coffee. Okay, so this right here, I partnered up in this company here a couple weeks back, and it's a healthy wellness coffee. So it's got stuff in there to increase focus, elevate mood, balance your appetite, support metabolism, helps with inflammation. People that got joint pain, helps people sleep better at night. Getting a lot of good results from it. So I'm here to tell you, if you like coffee, hit me up. I can get you some samples out. You can try it, no obligation or whatever. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. Um, brand new company, guys. It's actually the company's launching March 1st. So anybody that's got a little inkling, right, that they're like, you know what, kind of open to maybe being a founder of this company. There's an opportunity to get in and be a founder of this company for the next month here. So hit me up, Agara Coffee. I haven't needed energy drinks, guys, for a couple weeks here. I've been drinking this in the morning, sustained energy all day long. And if I can lose some of these cheeks and some of this belly, that would be fantastic. So, well, the jury's still out.
You,
Bert, why are you nodding? That's bullshit.
you
Stop it over
no,
there. Feelings
no.
are hurt.
What I'm
What are you
saying is,
doing?
you should not be drinking energy drinks. Those are not good for you.
They are not. They are not good for me. No,
See how
I
so it is. Bert loses his weight. Now he's making fun of you.
right. Yeah, yeah. My feelings are hurt. I remember one time, guys. Changa, you might have been there. Whitney come upstairs, my daughter, and she's like, "Oh my God, I think I'm having a heart attack." She was having like heart palpitations. I'm like, what is going on?
Yep.
And she was like sweating. She had like a pyramid deal of freaking energy drink cans. I'm like, how many did you drink? It was like 8 energy drinks in like one day. I'm like, you can't do that. She's like, I know, I won't do that anymore. She was like about ready to lose it. So yes,
Who can
energy
I
afford
drinks.
to?
I've
Yeah.
I've only drank one energy drink in my life, and my heart was racing like crazy. So
Well, you're the
no
most
more.
eligible bachelor here on the One to Go show too. You make a lot of people's hearts race like
You know,
crazy,
he
Bert.
he put he put on the glasses, and all the ladies' hearts are freaking pumping.
Right. Ow.
Ooh.
So Wild West Shootout. So I know we all watched that. So we talked about the late models, but there was two other classes there, limited mods, A mods. Okay. And there's some other stuff that stuck out, but I'll let you guys just a couple random things or whatever. What else stuck out to you guys from the Wild West Shootout above and beyond the late models? And then I have a few things here that kind of stuck out over the week down there.
You want to go ahead, Bert?
Changa, you go first.
I guess, first thing, I mean, the first half of that deal, Blake Adams, everything about him stuck out, right? I mean, aside, he was winning in the B mod. I think he got 1 second or something there, but my God, the runs he was having in the A mod, running right toe to toe with the US MTS guys. Yeah, I think he beat the family member Rodney Sanders one of the nights there, and due to a couple of something we'll talk to about later, a couple of guys getting DQ'd, he get second in one of them there, and
Yep.
boy, I mean, young kid running toe to toe with the US MTS guys. So I guess that was the excitement of it for me early on, and then of course Jake Smith going back to the front a bunch of times and just falling short. And then when he finally did get to start up front, it was kind of curtains. So
Yeah, Jake Smith was really good down there. I got to be honest, I was so pissed at the 40 camp when they went home at first, and then I wasn't. But we went down after the races one night, and we're like, they look like droopy dog. I'm like, what is going on? Well, turned out they blew their good motor in the AMOD, right? And I don't know if it completely grenaded, but for sure lost a cylinder, right? So so they're like, I don't know if we're gonna stick around. That you can't put the small motor in and compete. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, just race. You're here. Like, what the hell are you thinking, right? And
well, at
especially the
least
B
keep
mod.
racing the B mod. You'd
Yeah.
have won.
And then the generator went out, and they had several different issues. And I'm like, man, like you're already here, race. And as a selfish fan, I'm like I wanted to see the 40 car out there. I had somebody to cheer for. Not that I didn't cheer for Dustin Strand and Jake Smith and Lucas Rodin and some of these other local Scott Benson, Scott Tofty, and all these guys that we know. But like I was really watching the 40. Like I was sitting next to a guy from California. I'm like, that kid right there, 16 years old. The kid's a stud. Like watch this kid, right? And when I found out he went home, I'm like, shit, I don't even want to go anymore. Like I can watch it online. I wanted to see it. And then Joe Chisholm shows up, right? He had his brother's car there, and I'm like, we'll see how he does. Well, he had the USMTS spec motor in there, small motor, kind of like a Wasota motor. He couldn't hit his ass with either hand. He's a good racer, right? I mean, you put Big Thunder underneath the hood of a Joe Chisholm car, he's going to compete for wins every single night. He was a complete non-factor. Well, that proved right there that throwing the smaller motor in the A mod was just going to be a complete waste of time. And we saw that in the late models. Pierce mentioned it, Alberson mentioned it, right? That they had the small motors in, underestimated how much power you needed. And they put the big motors in, and it's like, holy shit, this thing now we're good. That place is freaking fast, man. I don't know if you could tell on TV, but there in person, oh my God, is that place fast? That carries a lot of speed. So disappointed, but you know who was butthurt down there, Bert? Mr. Rob Mosley. He was kind of a little sore loser. Night number one, Blake Adams and Jake Smith from deep whooped his ass. And he was kind of throwing a hissy fit and decided to protest the tires, and they're cheating and they're softening their tires. So he protested their tires to have them sent in. And it's like, not a fan of losing to a 16-year-old kid. That kind of hurting your feelings a little bit there, guy. I just asking for a friend. And
This was opening night.
that was opening night.
All
Yeah, they
right,
sent the tires in.
so the first race of the year, we already have drama.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And just a sore loser. He was kind of a. Did he win the final night down there? No, Jake Smith did, right?
Yeah, Jake Smith did.
And I know Rodine won, must have been the second to last night, right?
Third to last night because Schrader won the second to last
Oh,
night,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Jake Smith did win the last
Yeah.
one.
So Mr. Rob was okay, but he was the Wasota B mods kind of dominated down there. They were the class of the field, specifically, right, the 40 and the 21. Scott Tofty showed some speed down there. He was pretty quick. And then Parker Anderson had some speed, a little bit of bad luck mixed in it, but he had some speed. Did you guys happen to see the cars ride the billboards? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So
I did
For
not.
sure saw the one that where the cage collapsed.
yeah, the first one was Cole Queensland, half owner, part owner of the Deer Creek Speedway. In the A-mod. So the cushion was up high right against the wall, and they'd hit the cushion, they'd ride up the wall, and the billboards were like right on the wall. In their cars, and you can look it up online, their cars, they literally rode the billboard partway around the corner, and then he came back down on the track. The B-mod rode the wall and literally tipped down on the cage and literally crushed the whole roll cage in. Lucky the driver's okay, because it was right behind his head on the driver's side there, and it crushed the roll cage. Oof.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
That is probably not supposed to happen. I think you're right. But Rodine, he did get a win. Strand actually showed some speed. Second half of the week, he was really, really good down there. What else stuck out to you guys down there?
Well, Rodney Sanders ran really, really well in the features. If he could have qualified better, he was always starting deep in the field. But he would get up near the front. He did win one, I believe.
Yeah, he won one. You know who's going to be good this year, and he showed some signs last year. You keep an eye on Reese Solander. Reese Solander he's gonna be fun to watch in the modifieds. I think he's gonna follow USMTS. Did you see the news? Who's following USMTS this year?
I did.
Yes.
Brandon Davis.
Oh man, we talked about that last year. I'm jacked up about that. Brandon Davis, arguably one of the most talented mod drivers in the country. Super, super excited to see him on tour this year.
Builds his own stuff, don't he?
He does. Another thing that happened down there, here's a first. Bert, did you watch the national anthems each night?
I did not.
Have you ever? So you watched a lot of sports, lots of sports, lots of racing. Have you ever seen anybody forget the words in the middle of the song?
Yes, there was one. I mean, not in person, but I saw it. Actually, it was like a 11-year-old girl.
That's different. That's different. Yeah.
Well, no, but it was at a NBA game, and the head coach for one of the teams came out and helped her sing the rest of it. Then
Nice. That's a cool moment. This poor guy started out the national anthem, got about a quarter of the way through it, and he's like, and then he froze. He's like, "Oh my, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I got to start over again." And then he started over, went through it like a champ. It's like, oh my, that would be embarrassing. You got to have some thick skin to be standing in front of everybody singing the national anthem. Forget the words. First time I saw that, I had to kind of point that out. What else you got there, Changa? I got a couple more things.
I'm good. You can go ahead.
So then you were talking about the night that a couple DQs happened. So I think it was Sorensen and Cade Dillard both got DQ'd. I think they got first and second that night too. And Bert, do you know why they got DQ'd?
I do not.
Mufflers fell off. Mufflers fell off.
Okay.
There was
Well,
several cars down there over the week that their mufflers fell off their cars.
They're
it
probably
was during
bottoming
one of
them
the
out in
late
the
model
holes.
features.
Yep.
One of the late model features, a muffler fell off.
It did. It did. Now, I'm just going to say it, and I don't care if I hurt feelings. If you have a muffler fall off your car, you're a dumbass, okay? It just is what it is. It's not complicated, right? Like, put a bracket on there, do whatever you got to do. Like, this became a rule in Wissota because people died in the grandstands when a muffler got scooped into the crowd, okay? It's shit falling off your race car is just ridiculous. There's no reason for stuff to fall off your car. That is just absolutely.
If it breaks off the pipe, fine, but have some contraption that keeps it from falling on the track.
100% have a tether on there or whatever. And Dillard kind of was whiny a little bit on Facebook, the old dildozer. He's like, well, muffler fell off because the track was rough, and there was some character on the bottom. But I got to be honest, if your welds don't hold good enough for a frickin' muffler to stay on, I don't know how I'd feel about racing one of your cars and the roll cage kind of holding together. I'm just saying, I don't know, right? I'd be kind of concerned, right? Because if you welded the muffler on and that fell off, I don't know, right? I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying his cars are unsafe, but I mean, quit making excuses. Keep your shit together. That's unbelievable. So Uper was down there, and he's like, I got to give a shout out. You know, one thing that they did is they weren't afraid, like in B mains, if they got on the Saturday or Sunday show that he was at, the B-Mod B main was just an absolute shit show. Caution, caution, caution. And finally they just went green, white, checkered and ended it. And you got to do that, right? I mean, if things, I hate cutting laps, but at some point, you know, you can't have a 45-minute long B main.
Well,
there ain't nobody interested in that.
Was there a curfew there?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it was
So
11.
yep. you can't go on forever in a B feature when there's a curfew looming at the end of the night.
No. In the facility, we talked about this before I was down there. They've added even more. They got a brand new building out front that's got TVs in it and a bar. So if people got cold, they could go down, sit at a picnic table, have a cocktail, grab a burger at a table, watch the races inside. The only thing that place is lacking is speakers, the sound, right? And Uper mentioned, you know, hey, the maybe better amenities on the bathroom. Well, if he had been there a year ago or 3 years ago, he would have been like, wow. I mean, they have done wonders with that place, and I'm looking forward to see what's next. You know, because they're going to continue to make it better. Wild West Shootout coming back there, and it's kind of like a family reunion down there. Man, I saw so many people. I saw, you know, Mike Jordet. I saw Joel Kreiderman down there. Talk to him. I saw Jake Radetsky down there. Jody Belfi. I saw, I mean, shit. I mean, so many people, a long list. I mean, if I tried to name them all off, we'd be here for 7 hours. Not going to do that. But going down to that show, especially as a Wissota person, it was completely full. BS with SD, Mark Royne. I mean, there was a ton of people down there. That was as much fun as the actual racing itself. Kind of like Tonga, like we talked about the USA Nationals. All the people you see and visiting, same kind of concept down there. So, with that said,
I did have one more thing that I wanted to add from the last couple weeks, and you and I have talked about it. But Bert, I wanted to give out a donkey award. Did you see this deal? 602 late models at Volusia the other night. Okay.
Bert, did you see that? Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Okay, Tonga, pause. Hold on. I'm gonna play this up for you. What is the number one thing we probably give drivers the most donkey awards for? Period.
Tires falling off on the parade lap.
Okay, so gentleman by the name of, and excuse me if I don't pronounce this right, Cade Hunkapiller, okay, in a 602 late model, in the B main, right? Goes out there on the parade lap, loses his left front tire, right? So they hurry up, scramble, put it on. They start the race. like right at the beginning of the race, his right rear falls off. Lost not one but 2 tires within like the first 2 laps of the race. So,
You're fired.
yeah, I mean that.
Somebody
So I mean,
didn't do their
if there's
job.
if there's ever been a
Oh,
double donkey, that's it, right?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it right there.
You had one job to do.
Right. Only other thing I got, because I know he's listening. He listens every week. I want to wish a happy birthday to B Shep today.
Sheppy, yep, fan of the show for sure.
Yep.
So, how about a shout out to our friends down in just north of the Twin Cities, East Central Sports. So East Central Sports, your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, Toro lawnmowers, the most pimping golf carts you'll ever see. Mac and the gang down there, they do a lot for racing. They sponsor a lot of cars, tracks, series, events. Of course, they're partners of the show here. But I'm telling you what, if you need some cool kid shit, check out East Central Sports. Stop in there. They're just north of the Twin Cities off I-35. Give them a call, 320-219-3542. Check them out online,
My bed.
eastcentralsports.com. Oh, there we go. We got the little guy. About time we got the dog in the show. That's our buddy right there. But yeah, East Central Sports, they do it right. They got a lot of cool stuff. I haven't got it yet. I am going to be getting a golf cart. We've talked about this, and I'm looking forward to getting that all set up here with Max. So so I had somebody, I was talking to my buddy Greg, and he said the speakers, because he was down there, Greg Anderson, and sat with us up there, and he's like, you couldn't hear nothing. There's no sound, right? And some tracks have better speakers than others, but most of the time during the race, you can't really hear the commentary, right? You might hear it a little bit, maybe on the downtime, but even on the downtime there, the speakers were just non-existent. You couldn't hear nothing. Now, I'm going to give them a pass, right? Because they've, from what that track was a year ago to now, is absolutely flabbergasting. Okay, I'm assuming they're going to get better sounding, but you don't hear the commentary during the race. You just don't. I mean, the cars are going by. So to the best of my knowledge, Billy Moyer was up in the booth the second half of the week. You guys saw that, right? Yeah. And several people said, man, he was awesome up there, added a lot to it. I mean, I never heard him. What was your guys' thoughts of Billy Moyer up in the booth?
No, I agree. He added to the broadcast. He was able to provide a lot of insight, more technical insight on some of the stuff. Like when that muffler fell off in one of the features, they talked to him, on things that he did to make sure that his mufflers didn't fall off and stuff like that.
So, yeah, just great insight, right? So, would you guys agree that at the races, right, regardless, I mean, it could be the best race program ever, or it could just be a regular ho-hum, an average race night. There's always a lot of downtime, right, during the race. And if you're watching, we've all kind of grown accustomed to watching racing online, and that downtime is kind of filled up with commentary and the announcers talking, right? No different than watching an NFL game. You got all the commentary and all the stuff you can listen to on the downtime. You don't get that at the racetrack, okay? But here's an idea. What if? So you think, Bert? You ever been to a NASCAR race?
Yes.
Okay. Did you rent the scanner, or did you have a scanner to listen to the radio?
I've been to 3 NASCAR races, all in Michigan. The first time I went, I did not have a scanner. The next time I went, I had a scanner. The scanner's the way to go.
Okay. So, and on the scanner, you're mainly listening to the spotter, you're listening to the crew chief, you're
Right.
listening to all that, right?
Right.
What if, right? These tracks are, pick a track, pick a series. What if they said, look, here's the deal. We're going to work out a deal with Raceiver, okay? And or a different radio of some kind. But we're going to hook the broadcast, whoever's doing the announcing, they're going to have their own separate channel to where that is broadcasted on the radio. JR keeps texting me like crazy. I'll have to call him back. He's tried calling me 3 times. He knows we're doing the show. But what if they had a separate radio broadcast that fans in the grandstands that are at the races could literally have a like a receiver put in one speaker in their ear, right? Or two if they really wanted to, and listen to the play-by-play announcer during the race. Okay. I'd like one because I like to hear the car noise too. But think about this. So during the race, you get the play-by-play, adds to the experience. But during the downtime, how many people in the crowd there would have probably got a kick out of listening to Billy Moyer, right? They probably, all the time when they're doing track prep or watering the track or waiting for this or on a yellow, all of a sudden there's a crash in turn 3 and turn 4. You can't hear nothing. All of a sudden you can hear the broadcast and you can hear the actual play-by-play people up there. And what if they made it a norm to, hey, we're going to get, every single night we're going to have a different driver, a past driver, a current driver, get somebody else up in the booth with you, right? And kind of have a co-announcing deal. Would that add to the overall fan experience being at the racetrack to help kind of eliminate some of the downtime blues?
Certainly couldn't hurt, right? I mean, and it don't have to necessarily. It could be anything. It could be an app for your phone. You could sell it for $5 a year, right? And people could just hook their earbuds in and have it in one ear. You can hear the cars in one. Someone, the announcer talking in the other ear, and the track could make $1 off a deal.
Yeah, an app deal might be a little tougher because you'd have to get everybody on technology-wise to get an app. It's easier to kind of plug into the radio or however they do that, with the sound system. But you're on the same page. Some kind of version to be able to listen to people. And then even during the races, right? Imagine if they had somebody down in the pits, right? And there's a wreck and they go down there and they're in the pits. People are all sitting in the grandstands. They don't see anything that's going on in the back. But what if they had somebody in the back? Because we see this online. Like we see this is part of the online viewership where it's like, hey, we got a mic down here, and man, hey, look what's going on with Turbo. What if you could hear that? What if there was people down there talking while that was happening? So if you're a promoter out there,
They
right?
did. Yeah, it was great coverage on the television.
Yeah, we pulled it up, but we couldn't hear anything.
They had
So
a split screen. They had that on one side, and then they had the start of the next heat race
did
on
they
the other
really?
half. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and we don't get that in the stands. So I think that would be super cool to have a promoter try to figure that out to kind of enhance that experience because even if you have good speakers, you can't hear the commentary during the race. So there's an idea for somebody to try. The other thing is, unrelated to that, speaking of overall entertainment value, the flagman at the Wild West Shootout has to go. They they gotta get somebody else. That guy looked so disinterested. Guys, he would literally stand there like Droopy the dog and grab the flag. And I mean, I maybe it's just the old school in me, right? There was nothing better as far as officials go than people that were animated flagmen, doing that's in lost art form. And a lot of tracks are like, man, we're just lucky we could find somebody to be a flagman tonight, let alone have an animated flagman. And that's the problem we're getting into. But I noticed that because we were sitting right behind the flagman. I'm like, this guy hates his job. He don't want to be here at all. Like, what is this guy doing? And that gives you an appreciation for those that do the little bit extra. So if you're an official out there that goes the extra mile to be animated and fan interaction and you're part of the show, hey, tip of the cap to you because that's a lost art form and we need. I mean, we used to see the front straightaway guys lining up the cars, running down the track backwards, and you're going to the back and they'd slap their ass and you're going to the back, and that stuff's all gone. And that was part of the overall entertainment in my eyes. That is a lost art form everywhere, and I'd sure like to see that come back. So, um, any other thoughts on the Bert Changa on what are you guys' thoughts on the headset idea, trying to filter in, being able to hear the commentary? Any other thoughts on that?
I
No,
think we
I,
kind of
I
covered
agree
that.
with you. I mean, when you have somebody, you know, as legendary as Billy Moyer, on the mic, everybody would like to hear that, not just the people at home. Everybody would like to hear that. So I agree 100% with you. I do have a question for you. How is the barrel racing down there?
You know, it was it added because they didn't. It's not like they delayed the show
Well,
to do
right.
it.
They did that when they were farming the track.
They did, and you know, again, tip of the cap, right? They do it right. They're trying to. They understood the concept of we have downtime during track prep. Let's try to get something. And it's like it's not my deal, right? But there was 100% people watching that, engaged in it, and they thought it was cool. So I thought anytime there's always downtime at the races, always, all just is. And if you can have some kind of entertainment like the barrel races, you know, they had a like a clown guy there. If you can have some kind of entertainment to try to make that downtime feel like it's not quite as long, that's smart marketing right there. Well done by those guys at the Wild West Shootout. Contest time, boys. We got a new contest here, but before we do, a quick shout out to our friends up in Ashland, Wisconsin, Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, home of the Galloper chassis, proud sponsor of the #1 series in Wissota Racing, the Northland Superstock Series. July 10th, Friday, July 10th, night one of the series this year, 67-67 to win. The Tardy Memorial up at the Hibbing Speedway, Hibbing, Minnesota. The Tardy family, myself, there's a few of us generating the sponsorship money for that event. Excited about that. Get fully guaranteed cash payout on that night. Super excited for that. But Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, big part of that, of course. Also, they are the big vendor. They are at several racetracks in the Northland, custom sandblasting, powder coating, fabricating. They do it all. Chris does an awesome job up there. His whole team, Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, Ashland, Wisconsin. So, new contest here, Bert. Bullseye or bullshit? That's going to be the new contest. Bullseye or bullshit. All right. Now, how it's going to work is this. I am going to be the person given the topic every single week, and it's just you against Changa all year long. Okay. All right. So, because Bert, you're kind of a non-factor in the whole national championship trivia deal. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I felt like I was shooting fish in a barrel in that one. So I'm gonna let you two compete. And how this is gonna work? I'm gonna give a driver, a track, a series. I'm gonna come up with a topic. I'm gonna give 4 statements about this specific topic, and each of you got to write down. I don't know if you got paper in front of you. If not, then you do the honor system today. Okay, do the honor if you don't. But
I got paper.
okay, you have paper. So Changa, you have paper. So I'm gonna have before he says it, I'll have you fold it up so that way you can say. But I'm gonna give 4 statements, and you got to tell me which one is bullshit. Okay,
Okay.
pretty simple to do. We're gonna go with Pat Willis. Pat Willis. Okay.
Okay.
So Pat Willis, former owner and founder of Hoosier Tire North up in Rogers, Minnesota. The business now sold. Scott Willis and Blake, I think Blake Fulmer, I think brother, are part owners. But Pat Willis, founder of Hoosier Tire North. Pat Willis, once upon a time, kept Wissota afloat by loaning them money because they didn't have any, and he basically loaned them money to keep them afloat. Pat Willis, first Wissota Mod national champion. Pat Willis owned a trucking company that Jim and Micah Rupar, you remember them, Changa? Jim and Micah Rupar, Midwest Racing? He owned a trucking company that they worked at and drove truck for. And Pat Willis, half owner of a racetrack in Iowa. I gave you
Currently
5.
or in the past?
In the past, he has in the past. So he was a previous half owner of a racetrack in Iowa. So you guys get to come up with which one you think is bullshit.
So there are 4 clues.
And Changa, you tell me when you got yours written down,
What
and then
was the
Bert's
third
gonna.
one again?
So the first one
Oh,
was
I know
he
what the first one was, and the
founder of
second.
Hoosier Tire North. Second one was he basically loaned Wissota money to
Yeah.
keep them afloat. Um, Third one was first ever Wissota Mod National Champion. Fourth one owned a trucking company that Jim and Micah Rupar both worked at. And the fifth one is former owner of a dirt track, former part owner, excuse me, of a dirt track in Iowa.
So one of them
And
is bullcrap.
Yep.
so there's 5 clues. Can I just write which number it was on here?
Oh, you just go ahead and say which one's BS.
Well, no, I
Oh,
have to
he
say
can't.
it.
Yeah, Bert's got to say it first. Yeah, because you got to write it down.
Are you ready?
I am.
I'm gonna say number 4 is bullcrap. The trucking company.
Okay, Changa,
5.
5.
Sure, the half owner of a dirt track in Iowa.
Yeah, that is correct. It's number 5. He was not part owner of a dirt track in Iowa. So the only reason I knew that Jim and Micah Rupar, they sponsored me when they had Midwest Racing, the parts vendor up at the Hibbing Raceway, and Procter and Superior back in the day, and they'd come up there and they worked for him in their trucking. It was Willis, I think Willis Trucking. I think they had like dump trucks and stuff like that. So, but Pat Willis, yeah, first ever Mod National Championship, and it was after the Ernie Slide deal. And Changa, text us in a group chat or whatever that you got that one correct, so that way I know you're up one. But yeah, it was after the Ernie Slide deal. Back in I believe it was like 99, 2000. They made a rule that they were allowing people to run like a transmission that was similar to a Burt, but we still had to have a clutch. And Changa, remember when we ran that Lakehead clutch where you had it acted like a Burt, you had to push in on it? Well, they specifically put in there that Ernie slides were not allowed. Ernie Brookings had a lawsuit against Wissota, won a pile of money. They had no money left, and Hoosier Tire North had to come to their rescue and basically essentially pay the point fund and kind of help keep Wissota afloat there after that whole ordeal. So um, that would be a win-win situation because Hoosier Tire North did quite well selling Hoosier tires to a lot of Wissota racers. So congratulations, Changa, week 1 winner of that. So let's jump into our pick'ems here. Little recap on our pick'ems 2026. Bert, you and I sucked hind tit this last week. You were worse than me. Thank God. We did not do good. However, Changa won week 3 here. He's back on his winning ways in the pick'ems, but boy, off to a fast start, J.R. Tardy, right? So J.R. Tardy, the overall leader, extended his lead this past week, and he
No,
kind of,
no. I
yeah,
closed in on his lead this last week. I won this week.
you closed in, but he was leading. You closed in, but you were way behind him. His lead on second place is greater than it was after week 2. So he
I thought
he
I
has
was in second. Okay, never mind.
yeah, you were not in second. I believe Mutter might have been in second. Josh was in third. I think you were fourth. But yeah, JR extended his lead, won the Chili Bowl draft. Now our newbie, right? Mudflap, shout out Florida. He kind of jumped out to a big lead with a really good prelim nights at the Chili Bowl, and JR comes storming back on the Saturday night deal and stole it from him. So shout out JR Tardy for leading the way. So a couple that came off the board here. Well, I actually before we get into that, what are we picking this week, Changa?
Okay, so this week we're gonna pick the IMCA Winter Nationals at Central Arizona Raceway in Casa Grande. IMCA modifieds and stock cars Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Then we're gonna pick the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Late Model Series at Needmore, and I believe that's Georgia, correct?
Yep.
Yep. Friday and Saturday. And then we're picking the Dirt Car Nationals at Volusia, UMP Modifieds Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and ASCS 360 Sprints Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, and we're gonna wait till before we do our picks because ASCS Sprint, sounds like there's some people coming out from up north, like Justin Peck, for example, not making the trip because of the ice storms going through there. And he said, we're just going to wait for the World of Outlaw portion. But yeah, what are you, anything specific that you guys are looking forward to? I'm kind of looking forward to the Wild West Shootout. The mods and the stock cars put on a hell of a show this past week. Interestingly enough, way more cars. And here's a question for you guys, and before we jump into the last segment, way more cars. Quite honestly, I thought the racing was fantastic at the Winter Nationals, and I would say that there was 10% of the fan base there, maybe, of what was there
Right.
for the Wild West Shootout. Now, Bert, you're big. We all like all racing, but we pick on Bert about being a late model guy, right? Um, would you agree that more often than not, stock cars and I am say stock cars for sure, more often than not, are probably a more overall entertaining race than a late
Yeah.
model race, right?
Yeah.
But we're all conditioned, for whatever reason it is, right? We're all conditioned to be late model, top class, late models. And we hear people talk all, I mean, and the Wild West Shootout, me and JR looked at each other, the late model feature ran first, okay? And I bet you at least 60% of the fans were gone after the late model feature. Vanished. They just half the crowd, bam, up and gone. Late model features on Fairbury is the same thing. When the late model features on at Fairbury, mods are still left to race in street stocks. Everybody's gone. There ain't
Yeah.
50 people left in the grandstand. It's
They got
mind-boggling.
great mods at Fairbury.
They do, and they had 80 some mods at freaking Wild West
Yeah.
Shootout, right? So why is it that everybody's so hung up on, like, oh man, it's not because the freaking racing's better. It's not. There's no way anybody can convince me that. Why is it that people are like, wow, we're late models, when quite honestly, most of the other classes put on a better race? Why is that?
Everybody
Well,
knows the late model drivers' names, right? They're the national touring people, the guys that get the most publicity. Everybody's got a T-shirt of this guy or that guy or the other guy, and they go there, they support their guy, and I guess that'd be my only explanation.
Bert?
I mean, for the Wild West Shootout, I agree with Changa. It's, the national late model drivers. Now, I mean, if you're talking a local show, it's still the same. I mean, even at Shawano, when they get 8 cars, 8 late models, and if there's a IMCA stock car feature after the late model feature, there's still a good portion of the crowd that will get up and walk out before the stock car feature. And I actually am not quite sure why that is, because I mean the stock cars put on at like at Shawano, usually the stock cars put on the best feature of the night.
100%. And me and Jeff Provenzino, we've had this argument for years, right? He's like, you get rid of late models at Hibbing and you're going to see what happens, right? Nobody going to show up. It's a late model track. I got to be honest. I fought him on that. I'm like, you're full of shit. I don't believe you. Like, that is not a thing. But you just simply look at the crowd. It tells its own story. When the late models are done, people leave. Period. End of discussion. I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. In fact, don't get me wrong. I like a good late model race as much as the rest of them, but like a lot of times I'm more interested in seeing the better actual racing. In Chonga, we talked about this many times back in the day, right? The pure stocks put on the freaking best show. There was 40 of them. It was entertaining, banging, bumping, grinding, racing for the win. Highly entertaining, right? Late models, bunch of prima donnas, afraid to ruffle the quarter panels, except for you, Bravo. We know you like the wreck shit. Okay, I get it. Okay, you're not afraid. But the fact is, they're just not. I mean, you're afraid to bump because it's $100,000 freaking race car. You can't. I mean, most of these guys are like, they tear shit up. They're like, I don't have a couple grand to fix this deal. So that takes away the entertainment value. But is it the driver's fault or the promoter's fault for not promoting the grassroots, the lower, I don't know, lower level, whatever, B mods, A mods, street stocks, super stocks, pure stocks, stock cars, whatever? why do we not? Why is there not more of a promoting effort to pump those drivers up? And would that, that's back in the day, okay? When you and Bert, I know your answer to this. What's the first thing you did when you got to the racetrack? First thing, you bought your ticket, and what's the next thing you did when you got to the racetrack back in the day?
Back in the day, I'd buy a Midwest Racing News because they had a driver's list in it.
Yep. And our tracks didn't, you didn't have to buy that, but you got the point sheet that had last week's write up, and you were looking at all the points battles, and you kind of built them rivalries within. Now nobody's racing for track points because there's a special every week. But the overall lack of promoting the drivers in all these other classes has created a mirage that late model racing is better, and it's quite frankly not. Changa?
So, I mean, and a lot of things have changed in racing. Nowadays we got 86 classes and too many things going on. But back in the day, like what the key is run the damn late models last, so people have to sit through and watch these races and know who, develop. Okay, I've seen this car week after week after week. Now I cheer for him every week after week after week. And if nothing else, even if they don't, you keeping them in the stands until the very end. But in order to do that, you have to get the show over at a in a timely fashion. I personally like running the late models last and think you can
I
keep the butts in the seats all night.
I couldn't disagree more. I couldn't disagree more. Late model racing sucks when it's dry slick. It's terrible. It's unwatchable. Street stocks, super stocks, mods, they can go all over the racetrack. Late models, if it's black and there's no cushion left, it is a one-lane rubbered up shithole every single night. Period. End of discussion. Unwatchable. Can't even watch it. There's a reason that all these deals run the late models first. It's because they need moisture in the track. They need something to bang on with the right rear. And if they run them last, there's no racetrack left. It's lockdown rubber on lap 8. That's, I do get your point, right? Because they've said
Crap a
that.
racetrack,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. Maybe do a full farm session, the class before or whatever. But people get pissed off. You farm with 2 races ago, right? So, but that's exactly why RPM workshops used to say run the premier division like in the middle, right? So they still have a good track,
Yeah.
but they're not last to where it's going to latch up, and they're not first to where everybody's going to leave. But late model racing right now, with the aero packages that they have right now, the current configuration of late models, it is absolutely unwatchable garbage if there's no cushion, if there's no topside. Volusia was so terrible of racing that I wanted to literally claw my eyes out watching that nonsense. It was awful. And I don't know what if they ran first, second, or third. They kind of ran towards the end, but it was bone
I think they
dry.
ran first.
Now they
Well,
had they had multiple features for them other
yeah.
classes, so there really was no first or whatever. But late models need something to bang on. So I don't I like, and that's a split deal because yeah, you want to run them last to keep the people there. You want to run them first so they have a better racetrack. That's kind of a
And it
coin
another
toss.
reason you want to, I mean, you want to run the late models when there's moisture in the track, but you also want to run them when there's moisture on the track, because the late models tend to push the cushion up higher for the other classes, so then there's more racing surface for them to race on.
Back in Rapids when Provo ran the track over there, him and I think Jim Wimmer, they ran the late models kind of in the middle, and the mods ran right after them. Oh my God, did I love that? Because in a mod you could go all over the racetrack, right? And they like Bert, like you said, they'd clean that thing all the way up to the top, and you could race everywhere. And Changa, imagine if they would have ran the super stocks right after the late models every single night when we were back in the super stocks.
Well, we never lost.
That would have been fantastic. That would have been outstanding, right?
And we
So
get to run in the slime first.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But running them first, it can be a mistake because
Spectacular.
everybody leaves. Running them last can be a mistake because they're going to be latched up. Maybe the answer is just run right in the middle, call it a day. That
Well,
could be a thing.
Hibbing back in our day, they'd run them second to last, and they'd leave the pure stocks for last typically.
Yep, yep, yeah, they would. And pure stocks were awesome, but they also ran them. They flipped it around because how many times did we watch Wazaleski and then we watched Kelly Est? Like
Yeah.
our thing, Bert, we'd be like, all right. All right, 30 lap late model feature. Yep, Wazaleski to the bottom. He's going to the front. Oh boy, bottom's coming in. Late modified
Harry
feature
on the
goes
top,
out.
was on the bottom.
Yep, mod feature. Tim Jackson on the top, Kelly
Harry
Esty
on
on
the
the
bottom.
bottom. Halfway through the feature, Esty's driving off into the sunset. We're like, oh boy, the bottom's there. That's where we like to be in a super stock. So we'd watch them and then we'd run. So yeah, it was yeah. I guess put in the comments below. As a fan, where do you like to see the late models run? Do you like to see them run first,
Late model
second?
racings follow the leader no matter where they run in the freaking program, so you might as well run them last and keep the butts in the seat.
Yeah, maybe. That's fair enough. They need a cushion though. Late models got to have a cushion. Better chance of a cushion early in the night. So let's get into our bold predictions to close this thing up, boys. So not a lot off the board yet. So Bert, you had 3 come off the board. You said Wild West Shootout week number 1, Friday, the Saturday Sunday deal. JD would have as many wins as at least as many wins as a 32.
Close.
Close. You said RTJ would have a win at the Wild West Shootout and
Yeah.
finish in the top 15 at the Chili Bowl. Should have just left it with the win. And then you said Chonga would win the Chili Bowl draft.
You can't fault him for being. He was bold.
You were bold. Uper had a couple come off the board. He said Brandon Shepard would be the only non-Longhorn on the podium the first weekend of the Wild West Shootout. I don't think he sniffed a podium all week down there, to be honest.
Turbo did.
Turbo did. And then he said the Wild West Shootout opening weekend, Saturday, Sunday, thered be at least one of the 2 Eisenschenk girls in the A main each of those 2 nights. Now, that did not happen, but I will say this.
Both made it the last night.
They did, and they showed some speed down there. They're pretty talented little drivers. The first time I maybe saw them in person race, and pretty cool night that final night for them both to get in the A main.
They were good in that B too.
They were. That was pretty cool. Chonga, you had 2 come off the board. You said the Smooth Operator is going to win the Wild West Shootout points.
Got second.
He got second to Huddy, Rodney Sanders in the mod, Jake Smith in the B mods. You said RTJ would go winless at the Wild West Shootout.
I said that?
You said no wins and 1 or less podium, in fact, and that is incorrect. He did not go winless. So, and then I had 2 come off the board as well. Wild West Shootout first weekend, Saturday, Sunday, between the A mod and the B mod. I said there'd be a minimum of 4 with soda drivers on the podium, and that happened. And I also said that I'm going to beat Chonga in the draft. That happened too. So
it's not even bold. Everybody beats me in the draft.
I'm just, you had a pretty good team there, just not quite good enough to beat me.
We were all right on prelim nights, but
so I'm batting 100% right now early in the season, 2 for 2, and leading the way. Everybody else got 0, so we're gonna go ahead and end it right there. I won the championship. We're gonna go ahead and start a new season.
I think we should start a new season since we got a new guy.
Well, not in the bold predictions. Not in the bold predictions. So yeah, so way too early in the season. But so let's do this now. We're gonna end the show with our 3 bold predictions. So we'll go Bert, we'll go Chonga. I got Upers, and then I have my own. All right, Bert, your first bold prediction.
How many nights are they racing for the IMCA Winter Nationals? 4. I will say in both the stock car and the mod division, there'll be at least 1 driver that wins at least 2 features.
In the mod and the stock car?
Yes.
At least 1 driver in each class?
In each division, in each class.
In each class that'll win at least 2 of the 4. Okay. I like that. That's a good one. All right, Chonga.
Oh my! You're not letting Huper go before me again? This is BS. I know. You know what? I'm going to be nice to Huper because he's been relatively nice to me lately. I'm going to go with that ASCS sprint cars. I'm going to say Now we don't know, like you said, there's some weather, but I'm gonna say that every race that does happen this week with the ASCS sprint cars will be won by a national touring 410 driver.
Okay. So meaning high limit or World of Outlaw specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, so a high limit World of Outlaw driver, they will be the
I
only
mean, I could
winner.
add in the posse, but that wouldn't be bold enough.
Well,
So
that's not national touring though.
no,
That's a
I know,
regional deal.
but I could have added them in too, but I'm not going to.
Okay, so let's go Anthony Macri, right? Let's go.
I don't know if he'll be there.
I
Who
don't know if
knows?
he'll be there either. I have no
He
idea.
hasn't called me back.
So what is there? 3 nights of racing down there for that. So
Ooh. Oh yeah, three, yeah.
three. Yep. All right, Uper. He's gonna go IMCA Winter National, Central Arizona Speedway. Dilly Dylan Thornton, Chewbacca, Chaz Baca, and Kurt Lund. Those three drivers will combine for at least 9 podiums and at least 3 wins. At least not. At least 9 podiums, at least 3 wins combined between Dilly, Baca, and Kurt Lund. Okay? I'm going to go IMCA Winter Nationals as well. Specifically, IMCA mods, IMCA stock cars.
Now, was he talking Chaz Baca counting in both classes?
I'm assuming so because he left that one kind of open. So I'm assuming so.
That makes it even dirtier.
That is kind of a dirty pool. Smart play on his part. So IMCA Winter Nationals, 4 nights of racing down there, 8 total features. At least three of those features between the mods and the stock cars will be won by a driver that did not get a win in week 1. At least three drivers win features. 3 separate drivers. It can't be a new driver winning all 3 either. Okay.
Seems like a bunt.
I don't know. There's kind of dominant, but so at least 3 different drivers, not, and like I said, this is where it's not a bunt because one can't double up and I can't back
We had
into
4 different winners in one class last week, didn't we?
4 different winners in one class
In the
last week.
stock car?
Well,
Changa, you called every one of my predictions a bunt last time, and I went 0 for 3.
No, I did not tell yours a bunt.
four different winners last week would definitely hurt my odds now, wouldn't it? Because at least 3 drivers did not get a win last week. Yep, there we go. At least 3 of the drivers, mods, stock cars will be won. At least 3 of the wins will be won by drivers that did not win last week. All right, Bert.
All right, how many Hunt the Front races are there?
2.
All right, so Hunt the Front, both races will be won by a driver that did not finish in the top 10 in Hunt the Front points last year.
Okay. Both races will be won.
That kind of somewhat sniped me on one of mine.
Nice. Well done, Bert. All right, I like that. That's a good one, actually. All right. Changa.
Oh my god. I just gotta figure out how much of a bunt you'll let me have here. I'll just keep it easy. Make it I'm gonna go Dilly will get 2 or more wins this week.
Dilly, at least 2 or more wins this week. Okay, that's easy.
That counts heat races, B mains, and
no. Are we gonna go A mains on that? That's A mains.
I didn't say A mains.
Uh-huh. Bert, is that A mains? We're gonna go
A mains.
Yeah, A mains. All right, Uper's second one. Hunt the Front late models down at Needmore. At least 40 cars each night in attendance. And God, I almost need to look at this to see what he texted me here. Oh, wow. Okay. So Hunt the Front, 40 or more cars this week. And the Lucas and Wu regulars, drivers announced to be running a series, example, Brandon Overton and Turbo, will account for at least 30% of the overall car count. So that means, yeah, all right.
Does there have to be 40?
Yeah,
Did you say?
that's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, 40 plus each night, and at least 30% of the overall car count national touring drivers world
Okay.
outlaw Lucas. Okay.
Got it.
My second one here, I'm going to go hunt the front late models as well. Last year's champion, Jimmy Owens. And last year's could have been champion if he wouldn't have got caught with the tire deal. But I don't know if I shouldn't do that because I don't know if he's going to follow the series after that ordeal. So,
Ooh.
Zach Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
I better stay away from that until I know. So I'll go hunt the front late models. And I'm going to say that Jimmy Owens will have at least one top 5 and at least one podium. But he does not win either night. At least one. So a top 5 both nights with at least one being a podium, but does not win either night. That's kind of a bold one, actually. I don't know if he's going to get on the podium, but we shall see.
Especially when he said already announced he ain't going.
Okay, well, I'm going to stipulate he has to be there. Is he not going?
Oh, no, I'm just fucking.
Oh, yeah. I will stipulate there he has to be there for that to count. If he don't count, then it's off the board. If he's not there, he's off the board. All right. Bert, your third and final one. Maybe not.
I'm assuming he'll be there. I'll say that Cole Zarneski will win at least one feature in the mod races
This week?
this week.
Okay, so because next week's all the split features this week is 3 complete shows.
This week.
Cole Sarneski wins at least one. Okay, that's bold. All right, Changa.
I'm gonna go. Cole Sarneski does not win any. And he will have no more. He'll have one or less podiums.
Okay. All right. So no wins for Sarneski this week, one or less podiums. That's fair. We can go with that.
It was not bold enough if I didn't.
It was not bold enough, yeah. So Uper's gonna go to the IMCA dirt car series down there. Or not IMCA, the UMP dirt car series Winter Nationals at Volusia. This week, Illinois mod drivers go winless this week at Volusia. Illinois mod drivers go winless this week at Volusia. And I'm going to go back to the Winter Nationals. Ethan Braxma was oh so close last week. Oh so close. Ethan Braxma will have at least 2 podiums, at least 1 win this week at Central Arizona. Ethan Braxma, at least 2 podiums, at least 1 win this week down there at the Winter Nationals in Arizona. All right, boys. So that is it. Episode number 289 in the books there. Any closing thoughts before we what do we got? A few weeks away from Daytona. We got football here this weekend, or not this weekend. We got a week off from that too.
Racing started in eastern Wisconsin this past Sunday when they stuck the Fire on Ice Auto Racing Club started their racing on Shawano Lake.
Oh, really?
This past weekend. So yeah.
Did you go?
I did not go.
Are you going this week?
No.
It is too cold.
Would you go if it was 30?
Do you know any racers that are competing down there?
Oh yeah, I mean, Dan Machonsky and his son Elliot, they race in rear wheel drive non-studded. Nate Machonsky races in front wheel drive studded. There's some other racers that race. Racers who race in the summer, they also race in the winter. So
There you go. Racing never ends. I saw an ice racer in Steve Stewart's shop too, so I know he's probably getting. I don't know if they started their season yet or not. So I guess that's it, boys. Bert, it's past your bedtime, so we're gonna jump off here. But thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for tuning into the One to Go show.